Hey everybody, welcome into Zoo Science once again. I'm Cynthia, but you know me by now. And today we're going to talk about a really cool phenomenon called surface tension. You may not have heard of it, but I guarantee you, once I tell you what it is, you'll recognize it. So have you ever been walking maybe out in the woods or around your neighborhood and come across a pond of still water, or maybe a marsh, or even just a puddle, maybe something like this, and noticed a single leaf floating on top, or maybe a single blade of grass, and wondered, how is it just on the top and not going down into the water? Well, that, my friends, is surface tension. And what that is, there are molecules of hydrogen in most liquids, especially in water, and those hydrogens have a chemical bond, those molecules. They stick together very tightly, and they form an invisible membrane or film on the surface of the water. We call that surface tension. And there's a couple of ways you can break surface tension. You can do it chemically with chemical reactions. You can do it by being heavy, so heavy that you can break it. Like if Mr. Frog here decided to jump into that pond, he wouldn't stay on the surface, would he? He'd go down in. And Mr. Turtle over here tried to come up and break the surface tension from below. Let's try this cool experiment. Maybe I can demonstrate it to you a little bit more clearly. All you need is a bowl or a dish. You'll need some milk, whole milk, not skim milk, because we need the fat in the milk to help us create this chemical reaction we're about to create. You'll need some food coloring, any colors you like, as many or as few as you like. Some dishwashing liquid, Dawn works really well. You can also use laundry detergent, and we're going to call this our surfactant. Big old word that just means it reacts at the surface. So it's going to change the surface through a chemical reaction. And I've poured some of that in here and some Q-tips to help you out. Now I poured some milk in here earlier, and I'm going to go ahead, and Megan is my wonderful camera woman, and she's going to come in a little bit closer if she can and show you what's going to happen. I'm just going to put a few drops of different colors into this milk, and we are going to have a chemical reaction to allow you to visibly see what happens when that surface tension is disturbed. So you take your Q-tip, you dip it in your soap, which is your surfactant, right? And we are just going to, check this out, break the surface tension. Woo! Look at that. Did you catch that, Megan?
Yep.
Look at those colors. How beautiful. You can play with that, guys, all you like. But the chemical reaction that's happening there is that the fat molecules or lipid molecules in the milk are reacting with the detergent and causing a chemical reaction at the surface, which is breaking that surface tension. I think that's so cool and easy for you guys to do at home. All right, now, I love to relate these experiments back to nature, to the zoo, to things we have here. We have lots of ponds and marshes and lakes at the zoo, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. If you have, more power to you, but this is called a water strider, and it is just a small insect that, believe it or not, guys, lives its life on the surface of the water. Rarely does it break that tension, that bond that exists on the surface of the water. Here's another picture of them, and you can actually see like their feet making little dents in the surface, but, oh, thank you, Megan, but not actually breaking through. So these guys can walk on water, they can run on water, they can even hunt on water. They're predators, and they can run down their food and get it on the And they do that because they have a couple of really cool adaptations that allow them to. First of all, they're not very heavy, so their weight doesn't really want to break through that tension. But even when several of them group up together, which they do, they still don't break through. And the reason for that is because, now this is a really highly magnified through something called an electron microscope photograph of a water strider's leg. And do you see all these tiny little hairs on their legs? So those hairs actually repel the water, and there are lots of oxygen atoms in between these hairs that help them stay afloat on top of the water. So I just think it's so cool that there's actually a whole type of insect that lives above the surface tension of the water. Nature's so amazing. We can learn so much from animals. So, what I want you guys to do, play around with this experiment at home. Come up with different ways to kind of explore surface tension. Use different colors, maybe different liquids, maybe different objects to see which ones may stay on the top and not break that surface tension, or which ones kerplunk, go right through. And I bet when you play with it, you'll learn a lot. So thanks for joining me today, guys, and having some fun with surface tension. We'll see you next time on Zoo Science.